Uh, I'm Elaine, and I live in Ojai, California. And I studied with Dennis in the 80s, so let's say about 83 to 86. I think I graduated in 1986. Well, I actually, I spend time in just handling materials. And oftentimes it's the materials that speak to me and then tell me what it is that they want to be. And I will start with just sort of a basic idea, and it kind of morphs and forms from there. A sketch will come sometimes only because I want to capture an idea, but it's never the finished product. I never really go from one object, from a sketch to the completed project like that. I really allow for changes to happen. I really want to see those changes happening, which can be frustrating at times, but it's part of the process. It's just part of the process. It's like letting the imagery or the materials speak to me. He really was, he really pushed me to sort of see outside the box, to try different things, kind of to explore something that I wasn't ever really thinking about. And that kind of energy, that kind of like assistance or guidance was really helpful to me. It allowed me to have more freedom, to really explore without so many boundaries around me, without like preconceived ideas, without really really saying, oh, I need to make this. And I found that really helpful. I found that like I was kind of, I would say I was opening up because of how he talked to me, because of how he guided me back. I did work with Deborah Gold, and I kind of came to jewelry in the latter part of my undergrad. And so I hadn't had that many jewelry classes. So when Dennis came in, which was the beginning of my grad school, I really hadn't explored much other than maybe basic jewelry, simple kinds of projects, although I know now that my concepts and ideas were not that simple that I was doing. But my sculptural background, because I really love sculpture as well, I took a lot of sculpture classes, that background kind of helped inform my jewelry making and my learning of metals. Dennis coming in just kind of as being, and also being in a grad program, kind of just like facilitated creating objects that were outside the realm of jewelry. So in the exhibit there's a headpiece. There was another headpiece that I did prior to that was really really quite different. And I hadn't made anything like that before, and I was like, wow, I don't know what this is. And I was a little hesitant. I shouldn't say a little. I was a lot hesitant. To show it to anybody, actually. And the space that I was working in, the studio, I had a little closet, and I put it in the closet for a while. And it wasn't until I felt comfortable with it that I took it out and showed it to Dennis. Dennis got really excited about it. It was like, this is great, let's do this. And I'm like going, I don't know how in the world I'm going to make that. Because at that point it was just really like, it was pieces of like manila folder sort of paper that was cut out and pinned to a styrofoam head. That's all it was. But it was a basis to start making something. And it was a pivotal piece for me. It really, from then on, things sort of changed how I was processing, how I was working with metal. Well, I mean, there's a couple, but one in particular, I think Armored Dreams is a great piece to talk about. It's the longest dress I have here. It's actually pretty complicated as far as how it was made. It has a really good story behind it. That's why it's a good one to talk about. It's the imagery for that dress showed up in a dream. And in the dream, I'm like at an art opening or something. There's a lot of people around me, and I'm wearing this dress that boofs out around the bottom, like all the way around the bottom. And it's so big that it's knocking into people, and people are like, "Ah, so great to see you!" And they're just like happy, and they're not really caring about all of that fact that I'm bumping into them, right? And I wake up from this dream, and it's a pretty strong dream. I don't remember all of my dreams, but this one was very strong. I wake up from this dream, and I'm like, I don't know what that was. And chainmail doesn't do that. It conforms, that material actually conforms around things and lays down on things. It doesn't boof out. And so I was kind of like, nah, I don't know. I don't think I can do that. So I just put it aside in my head. But several months later, I had another dream. The same dress. Same sort of situation where I'm running into people and it's boofed out everywhere and people are laughing and enjoying it and the whole thing. And I'm like, okay, I still don't, still like, all right, this is great. I love the dream, but I'm not sure I'm going to do this, right? So, so you're talking about like, I don't know, maybe a year and a half or something, but then I have another dream with this particular imagery, this dress. And I'm thinking, okay, there's something to this. If something shows up 3 times, you know that you got to pay attention. It's just obvious something is going on. And so I actually started talking to my husband about it. And Keith was like, oh, wow, this is exciting. Well, let's figure it out. We can figure out how to do this. And I'm thinking to myself, really? Okay. But at this point, the piece is so strong in my mind, and it's not leaving, so it's obvious. It's just something that needs to be pursued. And that particular piece went through so many transformations. I did use like fiberglass to get the boof out, but I didn't like the fiberglass. I didn't like the way that it peeled off in my hand. I didn't like that gritty feeling. I didn't quite feel like it was exactly right with the top part of the dress. The design didn't quite flow. And I thought that I had finished the piece, but I was still sort of like questioning about it. And so I had 2 friends come over and just like, I'm working on something, I just really want to get feedback, what do you think? And one of them was a professor, or she's retired now, but she was a professor in Southern California, and I just really like what she does. So she looked at it and she said, oh, I love what you're doing in the top. I love the top of the dress, but it's almost like these 2 parts are not relating enough. And so I kind of went with just sort of feeling that and feeling how that felt and looking at it, and that exploration led to what you're seeing now in the dress. And I think where it is now is beautiful because it relates to the top. It still boofs out. It doesn't boof out quite as much, but it still boofs out and still recreates the effect that I want. And because I experimented so much, I know that I could go back and make another one that had more of an elaborate boof out. That's such a funny word, boof, but it is. This is just how I'm going to describe it. And that could be fun in a different way. But this dress was not meant to do that. And that's kind of the part that I like about designing and working with the materials. You never really know what's going to happen till the end.